Hey Stacy, it's great to see you today. How are you
Hello.
doing?
Good. So good to see you, connect with you.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
I'm excited about our conversation, just like always, every time that we are together, and the energy and the vibe is just so good. And I'm so thankful for that. And, when we were just checking in before, I mentioned about the Aries full moon this week and how the energy of that can really feel, particularly because, Aries is a fire sign. I personally am a fire sign, I'm a Leo. And I think that those astrological things do have an impact on energy, but it is all about how we respond to it. It's not this predetermined, predestined thing happening, but just like everything else with collective energy, it is going to impact us. So, although I am not somebody that's like, oh, so this is happening, so I need to go hide in my room, it's more of an acknowledgement of this is coming up. Things might get fiery in my life. How am I going to turn that into me remaining calm and me being able to walk through the fire, per se, right? Like,
Mhm.
and so I think that when we talk about things such as full moons and, it's also, I'll bring in some of the mental health pieces to that. It's, I think when you work in mental health, um, or healthcare or whatnot, everybody's always talking about, oh, great, it's a full moon. Things are going to
Yes.
go wild, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I think people say that without even believing
Mhm.
about the energy itself, right? So I really wanted to bring that up and say, yep, we might have a little rough, bumpy, fiery kind of thing happening, but it's all about going internal and remaining calm through it and walking through it in the best way we know. Because again, yes, energy impacts us, but we have the ability in which how that impacts us and how we can keep ourselves from getting drawn into something that might be negative or overwhelming or something like that. We have the ability to say, oh, no, wait, I know this is happening over here, but I'm going to take care of myself and make sure that this is the least amount of impact that it has on me. And I'll volley over to you.
Yes, beautiful. And so, as we were saying when we were checking in before we started recording, that the just the necessity of like awareness, which is really one of our main purposes for this whole podcast and our conversations. So, with people hearing what you just said, just and even bringing it into the present moment, that when we're aware of something like, oh, it's in this phase astrologically, and whatever that is, it will relate to what we believe about it. And so, wasn't going to branch off into this, but like, side note, really quick, that what we believe is very powerful, but it is not the ultimate capital T truth. It matters. It has a purpose for us, but it is not like any form of doom and gloom. Like you said, it doesn't mean in your experience that you would need to go hide away. So bringing it back to awareness,
Mhm.
without awareness and that like consciousness and coming into the now, we're going to be reacting. We're going to get, like what you were saying, like instead of being able to do what we need for our mind, our body, and spirit to be more calm, more grounded, we're going to have some version of activation and doubting ourselves or whatever it might be. And that's not even from our true, like, inner being. Our inner being knows all as well, but we are human too, as we have mentioned. And so when that fear or anxiety or whatever, because we are linking this with the mental health piece, and we're not talking about any specific mental illness, mental health, mental well-being is a part of our experience just about every moment of every day. So, but we are encouraging, instead of having just a reactive sense of things and blaming ourselves or thinking, oh, there's this thing again of how I'm not good enough or how I got to fix this thing within myself. Instead, it's just another experience we get to have. And with that awareness, it can just be so beautiful. It can be, and I think we've mentioned this, that just becoming more of an observer with regard to, not in a disconnected or disassociated way, although that certainly happens for people and it does keep them safe when they need it, but consciously observing like, oh, and it doesn't need to go inward and be just about me, like what you said about astrologically. And a lot of people do follow it. And yeah, that reference to the full moon, because people go, uh-oh, because what it can lead to on the other side of it is like expectations. Oh, in my life, things always fall apart in the new moon or the full moon or the whatever. And we're just inviting in more awareness to like really have a more expanded, higher type of awareness experience with it. And then I'll pass it over to you. Really lovely.
Absolutely. Like, it's really funny because, you know, all the people that I've worked with and such, and in the spiritual work, not talking in therapy, but, you know, when somebody comes in for spiritual work, they definitely are following things like the
Mhm.
full moon, the new moon, those kinds of things. Usually, I guess I should say,
Mhm.
there's some people that
Mhm.
come right on the beginning of their spiritual journey. So, but
Mhm.
I just really kind of want to step back again in that the power of our thinking, right? The power of our brain. And you touched on this, but we really do manifest things
Mhm.
when we think this is going to happen.
Mhm.
Um, and but that can be positive or negative. Like, you know, people can manifest to have things that they want, right? So that's a
Mhm.
positive. But also when we are in our brain saying, oh my gosh, it's a full moon, I know the day is going to be terrible. Well, we are inviting in that this is not going to be a good day. And this is, and we are, when we invite that in, here's the funny thing about it: we are more apt to notice if
Mhm.
something feels off or is off, or whereas a different day the same exact thing could happen and we don't give attention to it, and so it's not that big a deal.
Mhm.
So the power of our brain, the power of our mind to create what it
Mhm.
is that we are experiencing,
Mhm.
is huge. And that's proven by science. Like, that
Right.
is not even a spirituality thing, but
Mhm.
um, we really do create our reality.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like I've talked about in the past, right? We all know now, I think I've said this probably 4 times, that I really don't like red lights. I love green lights. Like, I mean, that tells you about my patience level, doesn't it? But but, you know, if I am giving credence to that first red light, likely I'm going to be experiencing some more, because the universe is saying you need to be patient, right? Like,
Right.
but they also could be protecting me from something.
Mhm.
So, but
Mhm.
if I look at it and go, gosh darn,
Mhm.
I got all red lights, and
Right.
I don't like red lights, and I focus on that, that's going to set the tone for my entire day. And
Mhm.
so we have to be careful what we
Mhm.
think, what we say aloud, what we speak out to the universe,
Mhm.
um, when we are trying to walk in positive light, love, energy.
Mhm.
Because the more that I go back to that bank in our brain, right? The more that positive bank fills up,
Mhm.
the more we are able to see the positives that are happening. And, you know, one of the things, and I'm just going to say this, and I think we've talked about a gratitude journal before, right? If we're starting our day with a gratitude journal, literally writing
Mhm.
3 things: I'm thankful for the sun, I'm thankful for the moon, I don't care what it is, right?
Mhm.
It it sets the intention for our brain to start our day in gratefulness. And when we start our day in gratefulness, we then notice every little single thing to be grateful for. So to kind of circle back, my point is that yes, these astrological and energetic things can impact us,
Mhm, mhm,
but it's all about how we're looking at it, right?
mhm,
If something blows up for me during a full moon or whatnot, I choose to know that that happened for a very purposeful reason and it was meant to go out.
mhm,
And because things are happening for
mhm,
me, not to me. So
mhm,
we could say that a million times. I think
mhm,
it's so important to understand that things are happening for you,
mhm,
just like, any other experience. Like if I have been unwilling to leave a toxic environment,
mhm,
the universe is going to figure out a way to blow it up.
mhm,
And because the universe really is on our side, they really do want to protect us. They do want us to have joy and abundance. And so when we come from the mindset of that joy and abundance and gratefulness, our life changes and our
mhm.
experiences change because our focus changes.
Yes, yes, love that, all of that. And we're bringing in these different aspects, mind, you know, references to like body, we experience that the physical and sensations and spirit, remembering that we are so much more than just, a human, and the human part's amazing. And the piece about what we focus on, we will cultivate more of. More of that will come in. And what I was drawn to kind of share, lots of things were popping in as you were speaking, is we get very attached to, I really want it this thing, this way, whatever, so badly. And it's like the part that wants it is the human small self sort of energy. And we don't want to shut that down, make that wrong or bad, but with the awareness of who is the one, what part of me is wanting this. And I won't branch off into that. Maybe that'll be a topic for another time. But just to mention that, we have the mind, and where it focuses, it will cultivate really anything we're desiring. But we know the mind is connected with the body, which is connected with spirit and energy and all of that. And so I love to bring in the awareness about heart, because when you said about gratitude, right? So significant that we're feeling it. We don't think it, and I know because I know you, and you've already mentioned in the other episode about gratitude, like if we're not feeling it, we don't in our head in a disconnected way go, I'm grateful for the sun, I'm grateful, whatever. It's like you're really realizing in those moments as you start your day, which, like you said, sets us up for a day without, and I would add, like, without being attached, because like you said, everything's happening for us. So even with all the best intentions, we do, because what we're suggesting are things that we do. You and I do these things. We work with others to help them figure out of, or might be our options, it might be others. How can they connect more with themselves, expand their awareness, all those things, so they can feel more fulfilled and happy and joyful and all those things in life, while also navigating the roller coaster ride without as like lessening and reducing how much we're getting caught up in, oh my gosh, no, I'm going down again and my day's ruined. Because the moment we tell ourselves my day's ruined, it's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Those sayings, whether you believe you're right, wrong, whatever you believe will be your truth, but it does not have to be that way. But it doesn't happen, I would say, and I won't speak for you, but if we talk, we know we're not recommending just live in your head, ignore everything, and you're just like, no, this, I'll control this in such a way. There's a I don't know what to call it, a dance, everything's blending, everything's happening for us. And being able to honor what we feel, but we don't have to have the same experience where we might be lost or overwhelmed or completely dictated by it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm amazed just coming back for a moment to heart energy, like, wow. And like when you said science, like with the brain, it is absolutely now more whatever if you could say it's fact-based, evidence-based, like it's scientifically proven through being measured. Okay, we can bring that in, right? For some people really, love to have that kind of come in too. And when the heart goes online, we feel that's where we feel those sensations of warmth and loving and compassion and caring and all those things with that gratitude.
Yeah.
And then how could it not serve us in a way, right? Because to me, it's like remembering why we're also here.
Mm-hmm.
We're not here to just have the human get it done, measure up, succeed. Like all of that's part of the experience, but beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just. Mhm, mhm,
Yeah. I definitely really think about how we're walking through life, right? Like, and the intention of our steps, and that intention coming from a higher consciousness
mhm,
is going to make what happens to us, we'll view it
mhm.
differently.
Right.
I want to bring in really, like, there have been times in my life where something that I thought I really, really wanted, and it was the perfect thing for me. And I didn't get that, but I got something different,
Mhm,
really figuring out that it was very purposeful and it was very serving to me, because the other way that of what I really, really wanted would not have worked out the way that what I was given did, right? But there's also been those times when I have been probably not listening to myself fully and have gotten what I wanted, and it be the total wrong thing.
mhm, mhm,
And you think, in this pretty little package with this pretty little bow, this is exactly what I want.
mhm,
And stop listening to, our guides or angels or our higher power, of maybe that's not what you want. And you just forge ahead into, this is exactly what I want. um, we're going to get thrown off that course because it wasn't where we were supposed to be, and it wasn't serving our highest self, even though we fought to stay in it.
mhm,
And I go back to something that I've said before, and I want to repeat because I think it's a visual for people, is that we don't need to keep pulling on a door that won't open,
mhm.
um, because there's a reason it won't open.
Yes.
And so really understanding that even if we have the most perfect picture of what it is that we want, when we don't receive that, it still is happening for
Mhm.
us. There is a reason, of something we cannot see, a bigger reason. And there is, 99.9% of the time, something more beautiful than we could have ever imagined
Mhm.
that will open up for us.
Yes, beautiful. So as we maybe come to a close with our conversation, that there's infinite possibilities. Our human mind cannot know what those are. It's not where that comes from,
Mhm.
but it's hard for us to let go. There's parts of us that are like, but I got to figure it out. And I want it now. And why we want anything is because of how we will feel
Yep.
in getting it, having it, or whatever. And as we've said before, everything comes into now. The only so-called time that anything is being experienced is right now. That's where we access our power. So, absolutely. And I love that's like a closing message here about like we, everything's always happening for us.
Mhm.
And so when you feel like giving up, like we'd love to help people remember that
Yeah,
there's so much more, always, always.
absolutely. There
Beautiful.
is always so much out there for us.
Mhm.
We just need to be in the right place with ourselves, and so that we can receive, because the universe, higher power, they all want us to receive. They all want us to be abundant. And abundance means different things for different situations, right? Abundance does not have to mean wealth. Abundance is health, abundance is relationships, abundance is
Mhm.
joy, right? And just remembering that we are always protected. We
Mhm.
really are.
Mhm.
And but we have to take the next step.
Mhm. Mhm. Lovely conversation. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening in. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you guys. See you next time.
Bye for now.